Hello. Today, I really want to share with you a voice memo that I sent to one of my subscribers and YouTube mutuals. Pati, if you're watching, this one's for you. She asked me for advice on how I share myself so boldly and asked me like, how can you put yourself out there the way that you do? I put myself out there through my YouTube videos, Instagram, TikTok, my Substack newsletter, and I've been doing this since 2022, and it's been a learning process, but I've learned some things that have helped me lose my fear of sharing myself openly on social media the way that I feel a call to. I think that this can help you if you are wanting to post YouTube videos. Maybe you have an idea for a podcast, but you're worried because maybe you're in a community where you're the only one doing that and it's not normal in your community. So you're scared of being judged or misunderstood. I've definitely experienced that, and I have advice that I'm going to be sharing in the voice memo in a little bit in this video. I also want to say this applies to you if maybe you want to share your art. I've made two short films so far, and I've hosted events in New York City where I shared my first short documentary that I made for my college thesis film. It was like a student film, and I shared it. And I also I've shared my creative writing. I've made creative writing zines, and I was selling them last year. I made an Etsy shop where I was selling merch last year, and I'm probably going to be bringing it back. And I have ideas for projects I want to make. And I made my first short fiction film a few months ago, and I'm going to release it this summer. So I've really thrown myself into my creative interests. So this is for you if you're scared of putting yourself out there. Maybe you want to start posting your drawings, or maybe you want to start selling your drawings and you really want to try it out. You want to share a song that you made, but you're scared to. All the advice that I share in this video is going to apply for you, and I hope that it helps. So without further ado, we're going to get into the exact voice memo that I sent to Pati. Hi, Pati. Thank you so much for your kind and uplifting words. I really needed to hear that. So thank you so much for the positivity you bring into my life. And I'm grateful to you too, because posting videos has brought me this wonderful online connection that I have with you. Sometimes I feel like I'm misunderstood or judged for what I post. So something I learned for myself recently was about boundaries and thinking, okay, how can I share myself online in a way that respects my privacy and the privacy of people around me, so that I don't strain the relationships with people around me. But at the same time, I do want to say that it was even more motivation for me to share my interests online or to share my messages online, because I want to find like-minded people, and I don't want to just limit myself to my immediate local community. Like, I want to see that the world is bigger than this, and like there's other people that are like-minded around the world that I can connect with and share things with, And for me, it was also about realizing that the internet is very new. Like, it's a very new tool that our ancestors and generations before us didn't have. So it's normal for them to like question it, and it's normal for us to be scared. Like you said, for years that you were trying to post, but it was like, I don't know. And I feel that was the same way for me too. But I also think like something that you told me in a previous voice memo was that things happen the way they're supposed to, and just trust it. Like, I do think that way. I started my YouTube channel in 2022. That's when I started posting videos, like talking and things like that. But I wanted to start a YouTube channel, and I wanted to do a podcast for years before that. But I'm glad that I started when I did, because I think in hindsight, looking back, I just wasn't ready. I just wasn't ready before, but I was starting to be ready in 2022. And it's a process, and it takes a long time to figure out your rhythm about like what type of videos you like to make, what do you like to talk about, and how do you use social media, how do you use Instagram for building an audience. And that is a very slow process that it's normal for it to take a long time, but it will pick up. And things will resonate somehow. And for me, it was also letting go of my fear of being disliked. I accept I'm open to like constructive criticism, or like maybe people saying like, you know, like maybe you shouldn't say things like this, or maybe, you know what I mean? Like I'm open to feedback is what I'm trying to say, but I'm not afraid to be disliked anymore, and I feel like that's helped me a lot. I accept that there may be people who I that don't like what I have to say, or it's not for them, or the way I am is not for them, and that's totally fine. And that's what I had to accept, like the fear of being disliked, the fear of being canceled. I'm like, okay, one day if I get canceled, or someone, or there's, you know how like on the internet sometimes they'll hate on one person or whatever. I used to be afraid of that before, like, oh, what if something I say is not correct, or, and then I'm like, if I step out of line one day and I really say something that I shouldn't have said, then I'll own up to it. But I know who I am at the end of the day. That's something that helped me, is letting go of the fear of being disliked. I know who I am. That's it. Whatever. The people who resonate will get it. And also, I'm a human. I'm not perfect. I'm not a robot. I'm not gonna always say the most perfect things all the time. Like, that's it. Like, so that helped me a lot. Like, that used to hold me back in the beginning. The fear of being disliked. Also, the fear of failing. Like, I learned that it takes a lot of failure to get a success. So I'm happy to fail as often, or maybe things are not successful, or I flop. I'm okay with that. I'm like, I can be seen failing publicly. So that is it. Like, being not afraid to be seen. Maybe my videos, maybe they don't get a lot of views, or people think it's cringe or whatever. It's like, okay, whatever. I just stopped caring. So that helps me a lot. And another thing that helped me, that I wanted to say, I'm gonna try to remember it. Oh, like you said, how do you know these things? How do you know how to start a newsletter, a Patreon? How did you know to do zines, to do this event? I listened to my intuition, and I think it's like, I guess essentially like a voice in me. Like it's just this urge that I listen to, and then I follow it. Like, just if I see, I guess, I'm very involved, I guess, with the creators that I like too, maybe, and that's how I get the ideas. Like if I follow some artist I like on Instagram, or a writer on Instagram, and she has a Patreon, and I'm inspired by what she posts, and I'm willing to pay money. Like you said, you're willing even to pay me money for a coaching call or whatever. That's what it is too. Like, I realized I used to be afraid to like sell things, or I thought, what if what I have to say is not valuable, and what if there's no market for this, no one will pay for it? Then I realized I'm paying for other things. I am willing to pay money for another person's Patreon or another person's book, because I like their message, and I like what they stand for, and I resonate with them. And then I realized there's people like that for me too. And if you have the urge to do something, you should just try it out, because chances are there is someone who is waiting to hear those words, who is waiting to watch your videos, who's like, and the way that you say it exactly is going to click with them, you know? And that's what it was for me too. So then that's what motivated me to start a newsletter, or I'm going to try out Patreon and see how it goes, see if it actually goes somewhere, you know? And that's what's helped me share boldly. And that's how I knew to do a newsletter. I also participate in online communities. So I do follow this other community of artists who we motivate each other and stuff. So getting engaged in creative communities and interacting with other creative communities helped as well. That's how it is. Like, I think just get involved and check out what other people are doing, and then you can see, they have, like, for me even, like, you saw, okay, Diana has a newsletter, maybe I want to try doing a newsletter, you know? Then that's how I get ideas too, like seeing what other people are doing, and then thinking, like, what is that about? And I get curious. I'm like, how do they do this? How do they do that? And so, yeah, Substack is free. It's pretty easy to use. So you could definitely try it out. Another thing that helped me is realizing that if it's not normal in your community, just follow people where it's normalized. Like, I am motivated by other creators who post things that are like, you know, making their own content or posting their own creative stuff. And I engage with that. Like, I comment, I like it, and I support them because it is like amplifying more of what I want. I realize like if it's not normalized on my Instagram, because on my Instagram it's people from school or people that I know in my personal life, and I used to get like cringe, feel like I was, maybe they think I'm cringe, or maybe they think I'm annoying, or like they're watching my stuff, so I feel so exposed. But it's like, this is my page at the end of the day. I realized I'm in charge of my own social media experience. Like, who cares? So I would set boundaries, like maybe mute people so I don't engage with their stuff, or maybe mute them from remove them, block them, or maybe like I hide my story from them, things like that, like that you can do on Instagram, for example. And YouTube is different because it's you don't really know who's watching or engaging, but at the end of the day, it's your experience on social media and you have power over it. So that's like that's something that helped me with like feeling, oh, maybe I'm being judged by my community, or it's not normal. You have to like find other people where it is normal. And I'm like, yeah, no, there is a community for me, and a community of people who like-minded people who will normalize this for me.